Welcome, everybody. I'm Joe Davidson. Another episode of The Buzz. It's 30 minutes of fun, insight, some video stuff, and some commentary. There's a lot to talk about. We're in the Sac-Joaquin Section championships this weekend for boys and girls basketball at Golden One Center. Before we touch on the chaos that really sullied some of this basketball action this week, including especially the McClatchy Lincoln girls game, you might have seen the video, you've heard of it. We're going to break it all down. But before we break that down and offer what should have happened, what can still happen, all those kind of things, let's talk about a good man that we lost. And I'm going to pay homage to the great teacher and coach Frank Calcano. We ran a story this week. He died at 83. Old age, had a heart that just gave out. His son, Kevin Calcano, said, he was such a giver. He gave his heart to everybody that he didn't have any left. A wonderful guy. I got to know him over the years, and we try to write tributes to humanize who these people are. And as great of a baseball coach as he was, he really enjoyed teaching. You can see people, and this is his final week in teaching back in 1998. That's how long I've been doing this. I covered this and talked to him and all of his students. You can see their pride there. So Frank Calcano in retirement liked to hang out with family, would go to the golf course, always said he needed to work on his game. So how do you do that? You go golf some more. Practice makes perfect. He also was an usher at Kings games at Old Arco Arena, not because he needed the money, but because he liked being around people. And a kindly fellow, and he said he really was strategic. He wanted to get down to the court level when the Kings were in the playoffs, and he enjoyed those. And we enjoyed Frank, and we appreciate you, sir. And if you want to see that story, it's on sacb.com. Services are coming up in a few weeks. All right, wild finishes. What are the high school basketball playoffs without a wild finish, or maybe even what can be done? And so here's the McClatchy girls basketball game footage. We're just going to run this. And what happened, if you haven't heard or if you want to be refreshed, is McClatchy scored the go-ahead bucket, right? Not right there, but they, if we go back, it'll keep replaying. So they score a runner down the lane as the shot clock expired. The fans started to run onto the floor. Here's the runner. It's good. The shot clock goes off right there, not the game clock. There's still 6, 5, 4, 3. And look at Lincoln of Stockton is trying to inbounds. And look at the referee. He's confused. People are on the floor. McClatchy wins the game, 68-66. Lincoln did not get a shot off. They got all these people on the floor. There's grown adults in a defensive stance on the floor. There's a woman who has a baby on the floor. These fans are... and you can see the clock is running down. And how does this happen? Well, we wrote about it in the Sacramento Bee. What can be done? A lot of people are saying, and I understand this, that the CIF section office, the governing body, should get these teams together. It's too late now, and play the final 7 seconds. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. When the officials in a high school game say the game is over, and they're doing it by running off the floor, then the game is over. So for all this stuff and rhetoric that McClatchy should forfeit this game, the athletic director should be terminated, the coaches should be terminated, any of that, fans should be banned from games, and all this stuff. Everybody's an expert on social media. The blame is on the shoulders of the referees. They are supposed to understand how much time is left in the game. How they allow that to happen is completely on them. We haven't heard from the Referees Association. I'm not surprised, but that referee crew should not officiate another game this season, and they owe Lincoln of Stockton a public apology, a written apology, something. This gaffe is on them. Chris Romer of Lincoln of Stockton, their coach there, handled it pretty well. Rob Fikert, the athletic director from McClatchy, as good as they get. He said, I feel terrible. I feel horrible for Lincoln. Nothing we can do. We feel bad. You want big crowds for girls' games. Look at this crowd, but you don't want them on the floor. It's just a bad look. I put it all on the referees, and unfortunately, the CIF and the Sac-Joaquin Section will reiterate you can't reverse what the referees are doing. So there you have it. It reminds me of a few years ago, about 6-7 years ago. Edison of Stockton was playing another Stockton team in a football game, regular season game, and there was film footage from behind the goalpost as one of those teams kicked the game-winning field goal. It barely crossed the crossbar, looked like the game-winning field goal. The two referees under the crossbar ducked as the ball's coming down, as if they thought it was going to hit him in the face. So they waved it off and said, no good. Can't do anything about it. It's just one of those unfortunate things. So McClatchy went up last night to face top-seeded Oak Ridge, lost that game. We'll go into the NorCals. Lincoln of Stockton is hoping to get an at-large bid. That may happen. Maybe it's the right thing to do. We'll see. Unfortunate. We got more on SacB.com. I'm out of breath. Let's bring in Cameron Salerno. Speaking about a breath, Cameron, you saw a great game in Folsom last night. The girls, top ranked by you in the Sacramento Bee for much of the season. The big monster in this section for girls basketball has been St. Mary's Rams of Stockton, 13 consecutive section championships, 20 out of 23. Ali Marino is their coach. He's from Sac State, blah, blah, blah. We have video. You shot video because that's what you do. And take us through it. How did Folsom win it? Who's the game winner by, and who is she? What's her story?
All right, so let's break this down. Let's slow down the game. So 14 seconds left. Folsom gets a stop. They're down by 1. They dribble down the court. They get trapped in the corner. They call a timeout. I know St. Mary's was arguing that they should have taken it on the sideline, but instead of on the baseline. So Folsom in the huddle, they go over 4 different plays. That's what their coach told me after the game. And then they finally settled on this play. But the irony of it is the girl who made the game winner, Cameron Mufafa, she was hurt the entire last 2 months of the season. This was her first game back. And she tried to play in the first half. She played a minute, subbed out. The ankle was too much. But she's Folsom's tallest player. And so they don't run that play often. That's what they tell me. But I mean, when you have a girl 6'2" who can make a shot like that, you take it every single time. And so I thought it was incredible the way it finished. It was just one of the
two thoughts, Cameron. Hold your thought really quick. First of all, she has to make the lob in. So she has to get the ball there, which she does. Then she has to catch it, compose herself in a split second, and take the jumper. And we sometimes forget, hey, these are 16, 17, 18-year-old girls with all this pressure. Incredible. You and I would have been airballing, falling down. That's just really impressive and great job, great confidence in their coach to say, let's go with this play. And it works. And Coach Lynn Walking told you in your story, it's on SacB.com. He goes, this is a statement game. Folsom is on par with St. Mary's now, and we aren't going anywhere. We have young talent, and so do they. We talked to the coach before the game about scheduling this game for the regular season. This one puts us on an even higher level. He also said, it's been a long road. The first 3 years were difficult. This is some 12, 15 years ago. We lost 29 league games in a row. And then here comes Mackenzie Forbes. Mackenzie Forbes became an all-time regional, great 4-year starter at Folsom, elevated him, B Player of the Year, McDonald's All-American. Now at Harvard, she paid attention to this game, didn't she? And what did she do after the game?
Yeah, so they phoned her in. If you replay that video, David, you can see at the end the person who's celebrating with the coach is Marcus Forbes, who is Mackenzie's brother. And I mean, the Marcus Sr. was there. He was there. He was fired up. I mean, it just was an incredible atmosphere, and that's why I asked Coach.
Here he is on the far right, coming up right.
You can see it right there. Yeah. He told me that this wins for everybody in the program who's played for him, and it meant a lot. I mean, it's for the Mackenzie Forbes of the program who helped reach the level. I know they played St. Mary's in a section final a few years ago, and they lost by 20. And so just to see how far they've come is incredible. And going back to your point, this Folsom team's not going anywhere. The girl who made the pass is a freshman, and the girl who made the shot's a sophomore. And Folsom only really has a few seniors on the team, so they're a team that's going to be around for a very long time. And so is St. Mary's. So let's hope they can play in the regular season.
Yes, and so now it's Folsom versus Oak Ridge, Sierra Foothill League rivals, longtime rivals for the section championship. We're going to break down those games here in a moment. Cameron, one thing that you've noticed, one thing I've noticed is amazing crowds. We didn't have anything last year. We hadn't, COVID wiped out everything. We had no playoffs. And so our Javier Mascarenas was at Granite Bay last week with me when Granite Bay beat Bella Vista in boys Division II. Granite Bay's in the section final. He's got great video of this crowd at Granite Bay, which will be there on Friday night at Golden One. So if David, you could run that.
All these people over here, give them something to cheer for. It felt great.
And this you could hear the crowd. It's just been electric everywhere. We saw it last night at Sheldon. You've seen it with the girls too, Cameron. You saw it with Folsom and Oak Ridge. People are digging into hoops. We applaud it. We see marching bands, cheerleaders. Because a year ago we didn't have it, and all these players that we've talked to, like TJ here, they love the crowd. They play up to the crowd. They hit a 3-pointer, they're going to look over at the crowd and wink or give a thumbs up. So it's not just the guys, the girls too.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Oak Ridge Folsom game, I mean, it was packed. And I know because of California public health guidelines, they can only have 500 people at the game. And there was 500 people at the game. There was an empty seat. I mean, when I remember I walked out of the game, they let another person in. So that shows you how interested people are in this. And I think it's awesome the crowds are back, and they're a huge factor. And I hope people pack the house at Golden One, and they should. It's good basketball. The girls' Division I game is going to be one of the best section matchups in a very long time, I think. And it's two local teams, because it used to be St. Mary's versus the best of Sacramento, and St. Mary's would beat that team by 20.
Right. No, it's different. And our Sarah Nevis does great video work for the Sacramento Bee. She checked out a game that you did the other night, Christian Brothers versus Antelope girls basketball. Got behind the scenes, was in the locker room. Antelope won. There's Sean Chambers, and Antelope is back in a section final. So talk about what they beat top-seeded Vista del Lago, and so Sean Chambers has Mary Carter, who's good, and he's just a great coach, and they're here.
Yeah, I mean, Sean's an incredible coach, and he's also an incredible guy, too. He's just someone that is just easy to root for, easy to talk to, always helpful, win or loss. He's always very classy. I was pulling up the stat. Mary Carter last night had 28 points and 19 rebounds and 5 blocks in the win over top-seeded Vista del Lago. And Vista del Lago led in the fourth quarter by 8, 2 separate times. And Folsom really cut the gap. They made 2 threes down the stretch, cut it to 2, and then they ended up winning by 5. So incredible effort. I mean, that's one of Sean's most impressive wins, I think, at the school, because he's doing it with a younger team. I mean, Mary Carter's only a junior, and most of his girls are only sophomores and juniors as well. So I think there's definitely a youth movement in this area. I mean, for years, it used to be the senior-led teams who are dominant. Now we're seeing teams like Folsom, who have a lot of youth, and Antelope make section finals. And I know another team that's going to be playing Antelope is Laguna Creek. And they're a team that a few years ago, they were a young team with mostly freshmen and sophomores. And now they're all seniors. Right. So it's definitely a youth versus senior experience at Golden One on Friday night.
Yeah. And so the team in blue here is Christian Brothers, lost a game, well coached by Shannon Foster. We saw some video of her in her locker room, but I think they're still in the NorCal tournament. So great videography every day, sacb.com. Take a look at us for all that stuff there. All right, Cameron, in quick order, let's break down some of these girls championships of note. All games, boys and girls, are at Golden One Center. Division I, Oak Ridge versus Folsom. We talked about it a little bit more, but we could talk about it some more. How many times have they played this season, and who's had the upper edge, and who do you like in this one?
Yeah, so Folsom and Oak Ridge, this will be the 4th meeting between the two teams, and I wrote in my my story. I had fun with it because I mean, when I write stories, if you write the same story every day or you don't have fun doing it, you're going to be miserable. And so I wrote, Folsom will face Sierra Hill League rival Oak Ridge in the Division I championship Saturday night at Golden One Center. It'll be the 4th time the teams have faced off this season, and this one will be for all the marbles. And so Folsom has won 2 of the 3 matchups. Oak Ridge won the last matchup. I mean, when I was going to interview Coach Wolkin at Folsom, you saw some of the Folsom players come out, and they were almost in tears. This meant something to them. This is a heated rivalry. I know they have a lot of respect for each other off the court, but I think it was Steve White who told me he compared it to the 49ers-Rams rivalry. So it's definitely, it's good. It's good for basketball, and it's good that our 2 best teams pretty much the entire season are playing in the section championship. Honestly, I don't know who I like. I mean, I think Folsom could get revenge, but I know Oak Ridge is really hungry, and Tegan Brown is hoping to cement her legacy at Oak Ridge and winning a section championship. So I'm going to leave it up to not picking a game because I don't want to jinx any team.
Well, but you know what? Or you could have said this, hey, man, it's Thursday. Ask me at 5:45 on Saturday. So both teams should probably bring good crowds. If somebody might scoff and say, geez, how can you compare a girls basketball rivalry to the Rams 49ers? Well, for those girls teams, that's their equal. because it means something. And they're rivals and they know each other. So that's good stuff. All right, Division II, Antelope. We just talked about Sean Chambers and Antelope and Mary Carter. Laguna Creek has won section championships before, Cameron. It was in the 1990s, then really took a dip, come right back up now with Coach Norman. He's done a great job. Ray Young, Zoe Tillery are two terrific players for the Cardinals. This should be a fun, entertaining game. No surprise that those two teams are there. Battle tested. Laguna Creek just beat Madison Butcher and Del Oro, so that's a good one as well. And what do you like there? I don't know if they played this year.
Joe, you said it's no surprise. It's no surprise to me either, because that's the matchup I picked in our preseason. Before the playoffs started, we wrote a story each on the boys and girls, and we made predictions. And I went 10 for 12 on those picks. I picked Antelope.
You show off. I think I went 12 for 12, but I don't want to show off. No, I didn't. I didn't pick it.
I don't know. It's a really interesting matchup because I think legacies are on the line here. Because Antelope is, I don't know if the word is trying to prove, but they're trying to prove that they can win without the program's best player, Janai Harriel, who graduated during the spring. And for Laguna Creek, they're trying to cement their legacy with the class that started as freshmen with Ray Young and Zoe Tillery. So it's definitely a legacy game for both those teams. And I think it's going to come down to the stars, because I said Zoe Tillery and Ray Young facing off against Mary Carter, who is Antelope's best player. So I think it's going to come down to those matchups. And I know Antelope has that experience at playing at Golden One. They're the defending Division II champions. They beat Del Oro, who Laguna Creek just beat. Antelope also knows that losing at Golden One is tough. They lost to Sac-High the year before in a really, really close and competitive game. So they've won 2 out of the last 3 Division II championships. So if they can make it 3 out of 4, it'd be a huge boost for Chambers and Antelope legacy in the section.
Yeah, and you mentioned Janai Harriel, 2-time B Player of the Year. I think she was actually a 3-time B Player of the Year, and she's now on scholarship at Stanford. So it shows you what kind of player she was. These are all Sac-Joaquin Section division, all divisions, all 6 games for boys and girls will be played at Golden One. What a treat after having nothing a year ago with COVID. Division 3, let's take a peek at that graphic real quick. It's Vanden versus Lincoln, the Lincoln Zebras of Placer County. Vanden's been around forever, Cameron. They're so talented, superbly coached the Vikings of Fairfield. For more on their coverage, Vacaville Reporter and the Fairfield Daily Republic have great stuff every day. And so take a look at them. The Lincoln Zebras are the 2 seed. If Lincoln can win that game, that would be a monstrous win for a program, excuse me, Cameron, in Lincoln that has not been this far, maybe ever. So
yeah, I mean,
it can happen. And sometimes in these big venues, shooting percentages plummet, free throws, nerves, and all that. So this is where sometimes the scores get lower and nerves go up and upsets happen.
Yeah, I mean, Vanden they're an incredible program. They're well coached. They've been one of the top teams all season. Same with Lincoln. I think Lincoln only has 2 losses the entire year. And so it's a huge game. I mean, I like Vanden in this one, but like you said, I think Lincoln has a chance to pull an upset.
Absolutely. All right, boys, Division 1. Let's take a look at
Sheldon Modesto Christian for the jajillionth time in the section 5.
Many times. Great program.
You know what it kind of reminds me of, Joe? It reminds me of the Cavaliers Warriors for the last, I think it was 2014 to 2018. They played in 4 straight champion NBA finals. So yeah, that's what I kind of compare it to.
No, it's before we dig on Sheldon, let's take a look at this video. Javier Mascarenas, Sacramento Bee, joined me last night as we saw Sheldon upset and beat Intercom. Intercom had a 24-game winning streak. They were 26-1. Intercom will go on to the NorCals. But look at this. I mean, Sheldon brought its band to Intercom and cheerleaders. So I mean, that's what kind of atmosphere. The place was packed. They turned away 300 people.
Wow.
And so I'm choking on my water here. There's Donovan Morgan. You can see the intensity. You can see the action. 85-80 win in overtime for Sheldon. Just a lot of depth. Superbly coached by Joey Rawlings, who's in a section final for the 10th time in 12 years. That's just remarkable. And this was a 5 seed. Low seed, should have been a 2, 3, or 4 4 seed, in my opinion. But what do you got to do? You got to go win games. And just a terrific effort on the road. Intercom's fantastic. Intercom ended the regular season camp with a win at Modesto Christian in a non-league game. And there's Derek Claxton there, number 10 for Intercom. He fouled out. That was a big loss for them. Rashad Bradley with the big rebound for Sheldon, leads them in all statistical categories. Just a terrific effort. And I think Joey Rawlings is the best basketball coach, best boys basketball coach maybe ever from around here. Certainly in this generation, what he's done. He's had open division championships in NorCal, section championships, whole new cast this year, whole new team. There's the mascot. The mascot stood in front of me most of the game, which I was going to file a report, but I thought definitely of it. So very impressive. And Intercom, again, will go into the NorCals. Probably might be the number 1 or number 2 seed in the NorCal Division 1. How can that be? Well, there's the open division. And Sheldon and Modesto Christian most certainly should be, again, in the open division. Those will all be announced on Sunday. There's Troy Crichton, number 2. He's kind of the unsung guy, and he hits free throws, three-pointers, all that kind of stuff. So it's a team that's united. Kudos to Sheldon, just an impressive job, and kind of a toss-up game with Modesto Christian. They're so familiar with each other. So we'll see. That's a great nightcap to end all the section championship play.
Yeah, and I got to add, Joe, I mean, I know it sucks to lose. Don't get me wrong, but there's a whole new playoff starting in 1 week. And, I mean, if you think about it, in some ways it benefits Intercom if they would – I mean, I know they want to win a section championship, no doubt, but now they probably won't go to the open division, and they'll probably be a top 4 seed in Division 1 maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were 1 or 2 because of their body of work. And so what you're saying, and I agree, they may win a Northern California championship. And, and it's the best team in school history, school open in an Natomas Unified in 2004. Fred Wilson is their coach, tremendous coach. The kids play together, play hard. Tough lessons last night. They missed free throws, and it caught up to them. All right, real quick. Division 2, back to the graphics. Grant versus Granite Bay is Friday at 8 p.m. at Golden 1. Grant is the defending champion. Denard Wilson, terrific coach, terrific guy. He says winning championships means a lot to the kids in the community of Del Paso Heights. Granite Bay, where did Granite Bay come from? Tied for 3rd in the Sierra Foothill League. Battle-tested, superbly coached Jason Siderud. Their point guard Mir is a terrific ball handler leader. Wow. How about Granite Bay as an 8 seed getting to the section final for the first time in school history?
That's what really surprised me, I think, because when you think of a team like Granite Bay, you think of success. And I know they've had success over the years with their basketball program, but obviously playing the SFL is tough. I mean, you have teams like Whitney and then Wood Creek back in the day and Folsom and Oak Ridge now. And so for them to make a section final this year where they probably didn't have even their best team in school history is incredible. I mean, they beat Belvis in the first round, and then they drew St. Mary's after St. Mary's upset top-seeded Ponderosa. Then they went to Whitney, a team that is an SFL opponent they're very familiar with, and beat them again. And so I think the Division II final is going to be really interesting because, as you said, Grant is the defending champion, and they are looking to repeat their title because they know what it feels like to lose because they lost previously twice to St. Mary's of Stockton. So it should be a really good game.
Yeah, and close losses. And, Rashad Brown is a terrific 6'3" athletic guard for Grant. Grant beat Elk Grove, the 2 seed last night in overtime. So really good games. And all these teams are going to be in the NorCals. And it's just, Cameron, for years and years, throughout the 80s and 90s, or much of the 90s, it was a real achievement for Sacramento teams to even win a section championship in Division 1 or 2, or even to get to a final. Now it's common fare. The idea of a Sacramento team winning a Northern California championship or state championship in the upper division was unheard of forever. Well, Sheldon had obliterated that, and Oak Ridge did it in 2006 and others. And so it's just really cool to see how basketball continues to climb. All right, real quick, Division 3, Vanden versus the Central Catholic. There it is on the bottom. Vanden is a powerhouse team. A lot of good winning on that campus with the football team winning CIF state championship. Central Catholic of Modesto is a longtime powerhouse. well-coached teams. That's an entertaining game. So we're looking forward to that. And David, if you could put the graphic up for the CIF Sac-Joaquin section, there it is. All your brackets and your game tickets are right there. Don't click on this screen. It won't happen. We could send you some good karma, though. And you got to buy your tickets online. It's worth a watch. If you go to Arca or Golden One and watch the Kings and feel like you're not watching good basketball or good fundamental basketball, these teams over this weekend will provide all of that. So, Cameron, good work. Check out Cameron every day on sacb.com, on his Twitter. Also, Cameron Salerno Media on Instagram. You just had a poll not too long ago. Who has the best rooting section? Who won that poll?
I know on my poll it was Ponderosa who won it, and I know they're probably stunned because the poll not like intentionally ended on Friday night when they lost in the first round, and it's sad because they lost when I covered them in girls soccer. So pretty tough times. But going back to your point about Golden One, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be fun to be back there. It's gonna be great teams. I know we've said it already probably 4 or 5 times, but that Oak Ridge Folsom game is going to be must watch. If you're a fan of basketball and you like good fundamental players and you like just a good crowd and a good atmosphere, that's the game for you. It's going to be a dandy on Saturday night.
That's just terrific. Cameron, be well. We'll see you out there at Golden One. You're singing a national anthem for 2 games. I'm doing it for 2 other games. I don't know if you got that memo, but that's what's going to happen. So we appreciate Cameron. Real quick, Division 4 girls basketball final will be Friday at 2 p.m. Calaveras versus Dixon. Check all the sites, all the websites. Girls Division 5, Bear River, Bret Hart will be Saturday at 10 a.m. It's too early. Well, if you want to win a championship, you get up there. I remember there's been Sacramento teams that went down to the Oakland Coliseum back in the 90s and had to play at 9 a.m. And you go anywhere to play a championship. Our thanks to behind-the-scenes guys, David Caraccio and Jim Silva, our terrific photographers, videographers, Sarah Neves and Javier Mascarenas. Check them out every day on sacb.com as well. To my man, Cameron Salerno, Jim Patrick is on vacation, the nerve. We appreciate everybody. Check us out. We'll see you soon. Send us an email, thoughts, ideas, questions, concerns. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate the viewership. We'll see you soon.